Liability overturned 2 years later.
I understand that the claim was in early 2023. However, your claim ended up going to both litigation and arbitration, meaning that there was a dispute between the two insurance companies to liability, and as a result, the other party also filed a suit. The outcome of both of those determinations and both of those investigations was that you were considered to be at fault. I guess what we weren't aware of and what they didn't provide us with at the time is that the other party did have dash camera footage, and that clearly showed that you guys were having a road rage incident prior to the accident, that they had cut you off, you had cut them off, and then you went around them with no turn signal, got right in front of them, slammed on your brakes, and as a result, the other vehicle ended up rear-ending you. Additionally, that camera footage, that dash cam footage, showed that you had no obstructions, and this was a on-ramp to a freeway, so there was no reason for you to have stopped there. You didn't use a turn signal, you brake checked them. I mean, all of that information led to a determination that you were at fault, which is why that was recently overturned. Yes, anytime new evidence is presented to the insurance company, no matter what the timeline looks like, unless we've gotten past the statute of limitations, which is 3 years from the accident date, it can still be reviewed and the liability determination can be changed. And like I said, the arbitrator did decide that we were responsible completely for the accident based on that dash camera footage. And so we're forced to, at that point, follow that decision and update our liability determination and handle the other party's damages. Mm-hmm. Well, that portion of the claim, like the actual payout for the other party, is something that our legal team is handling because the suit was filed. So they're in the process of handling like the injury claim specifically, and as for the property damage portion, we have already reviewed and determined what they were owed in terms of an award by the arbitrator, and have paid that. So that's been handled. The injury portion is still pending, and that's being handled by one of our legal team members. So we'll get that all resolved on your behalf. I mean, you have plenty of coverage. That's not the issue here. So now that we've got the determination, they'll make an attempt to settle with the other party. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, more than likely you are going to see it impact your premiums because you are considered to be 100% liable for this accident. And as such, in your state, this is a chargeable occurrence. So you will probably see your insurance premiums increase on a monthly basis. Uh-huh. I completely understand where you're coming from. I know that this is probably kind of a shock considering it's been almost 2 years since the accident. However, I mean, we didn't have this evidence presented to us at the time. I'm not sure. I wasn't even the original adjuster on the claim. It got reopened because of the liability outcome and the arbitration decision. And so I was the one that was just kind of assigned to the file to handle updating everything and getting it paid. I'm not sure why that evidence wasn't reviewed initially and why this determination was made that you were not at fault. The only thing I can really think and suggest is that because it was a rear end accident where somebody hit you, 99% of the times that does result in the vehicle that's trailing being considered at fault. So that might have been what the adjuster who originally handled it thought. But I mean, with the dash cam footage, unfortunately, it was a little bit of an overwhelming circumstance according to the arbitrator. That's something that you're going to want to talk to service about, like our member services team. You'll want to talk to them in regards to how that'll affect your premium and for how long. What I will say is that from my experience when I worked in service myself, that it's 3 years from the date the accident as an at-fault accident gets added to your insurance premiums, which means that more than likely you'll see that increase on your next term and it'll be valid for 3 years from that date. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from, and I apologize that this wasn't something that was, in my opinion, handled properly to begin with because the evidence was not reviewed at the time, and I'm not sure why. And I understand that it's kind of shocking for it to come about 2 years later and not something that you want to have to deal with. unfortunately, it's just one of those circumstances where our hands are kind of tied when it comes to something like this. When it goes this far to have an arbitrator and a legal team involved, at that point, we're just kind of having to go with what's decided by those two people, those two teams. You're very welcome, and I'm very sorry to have to give you this news right before the holidays and so far after the actual accident date. I appreciate you being understanding and listening to what I was saying. If you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will be the assigned adjuster to this claim forever unless it gets reopened for another reason. So you can always reach out to me with questions, okay? You're very welcome. Happy holidays to you. Bye-bye. It always sucks when they're nice. Like, I'd kind of rather they get yelled at because then I don't feel so bad when, like, this stuff like this happens. But, like, this wasn't handled properly. I'll just be honest. And, unfortunately, we can't use that as a reason to overturn the liability determination that was made. But at the same time, like, I get his frustration, absolutely.